In this video, I'm going to be teaching you how to master your diet for fat loss. So I'm going to show you all of the foods you should eat, all of the foods you shouldn't eat, and how they impact your fat loss and how they benefit you or harm you. And then at the end, I will give you a full diet plan to maximize fat loss, right? So the first thing is protein. So you're going to need a lot of protein because protein increases hormones that burn fat. It also increases your metabolic speed. It increases muscle protein synthesis, of course, which increasing the amount of muscle you have can increase the amount of fat you lose. And it also increases energy usage. So here we have sources of protein. So obviously eggs. The only problem with eggs, even though they have the highest quality protein, they also have quite a low amount of protein relative to their weight. Because 100 grams of egg, which is 2 eggs, only has 12 grams of protein, which is nothing. So you have to eat a lot of eggs just to get enough protein. But the quality of the protein is good. So they're still a good source, right? Meat, arguably the best source of protein, has really anywhere between 24 to 20 or 30% protein, right? So chicken breast is usually around 29% protein, whereas minced beef is usually 25% protein. And everything else is roughly around there. So yes, good source of protein. Cheese, also an incredibly good source of protein, usually between 23 and 30% protein. You can usually buy quite a lot of protein per dollar, which is good. And then here we have nuts. Nuts can be more expensive, but nuts are a good source of protein. They're just not as high quality as the other things. They still provide protein, but so eggs are the highest quality. Meat and cheese is also high quality. Nuts are they're a bit lower because they come from plants, but they're still like 25% protein, which is good. So number two is processed carbs. So what you have to understand is that all of these things are processed carbs in some way. Some of these, like for example, the burgers have other things, but most of this is just carbs and it's processed. So it prevents fat loss entirely. It causes the fat cells to grow. So it basically makes your fat cells get bigger. It spikes insulin, which causes fat gain and not necessarily, but there's a lot of nuance and it is very important for that. It, these foods all happen to cause cancer, by the way, and excess glucose is what becomes fat. So in a lot of my videos, I talk about how calories aren't the enemy. It's not like if you eat more calories, you'll get fat. The reason largely is just because you have to eat excess, you have to have excess glucose to become fat. So that's tied with insulin. Whenever you have glucose going to your bloodstream, it will release insulin. Your pancreas will release insulin, and the quicker and more glucose that goes into your blood, the more insulin gets released to store it in cells. If you're eating processed carbs, you can't lose fat. It entirely prevents fat loss, and you don't have to eat very much of this stuff to get fat because it doesn't take a lot. So number three, we have natural carbs. So natural carbs are obviously a lot better than these processed carbs. But the problem that I always see is that people think that they're going to be able to lose fat effectively while still eating carbs. And the problem is that carbs, they always raise insulin. And because of that, it inhibits fat loss. So luckily, natural carbs, like we've got some sources here, we've got rice, basically just grains, right? We've got rice, this is porridge, so oats, potatoes is vegetable, um, bread, which is from wheat, and then we've got fruit and honey here. So they all will inhibit fat loss. You won't be able to lose fat if you're eating this. You probably won't gain fat though. So because they all have fiber except for honey, and because they're not ultra processed, and because they don't spike insulin, for all of those reasons, it means that it's difficult to gain fat. But the thing is, if you have excess, you can still gain fat from it. Because after all, if there's too much glucose and insulin, you're going to get fat. So these pretty much all have fiber except for honey. And then obviously they're not as harmful. So this will all cause cancer. This is highly harmful to your body and your health, whereas these aren't as harmful. You're probably not going to get cancer from eating rice, are you? But you're not going to be able to lose fat. So to optimize your diet for fat loss, you can't be eating excessive amounts of carbs. And number 4, we've got fat. So this is dietary fat, by the way. And dietary fat increases hormones that burn fat, which is very important because hormones basically control your entire body. You need to understand that. And if you can influence your hormones in the positive direction, that is incredibly important for everything, really. For muscle gain, you would know that. That's why people inject steroids. But also for fat loss and even for your health, hormones have a lot that influences. So having more fat in your diet will also increase your metabolism. It'll increase your energy level, so you feel more energy. You'll be more energetic. You will have more stable energy. Eating fat causes satiety, but most specifically, it makes you satiated and feel full if you're having monounsaturated fatty acids and saturated fatty acids. Polyunsaturated fatty acids are bad, and that's because you don't feel full, and they also cause your fat cells to get fatter quicker, so it gets easier to put on fat. And it also slows down your metabolism. So these are very bad. But if you have these, they're good, and I'll show you how to get them. So you can get them from basically all animal foods contain MUFAs and SFAs, whereas vegetable oil and seed oils have PUFAs, right? And I'll get to that in a bit. But for now, know that having eggs, meat, cheese, nuts all has either MUFAs and SFAs. And the thing with these fats is that they can't be stored for fat in the body. They can't be stored as body fat. So it means that if you eat lots of these, your energy goes up, your metabolism goes up, your hormones go up, you feel full, but you don't gain any body fat. That's exactly what you want. So that's the problem with calories as well, is because fat contains the most calories. So carbs and protein both contain 4 calories per gram. Fat contains 9 calories per gram. But the thing is, fats aren't only used for energy. They have other purposes. But they also can't be stored for fat in your body. So the calorie argument actually makes very little sense. Now I'm going to address vegetables, this is the most controversial thing in this entire video. But you have to understand that despite what you've been told and taught as a child, vegetables contain virtually no nutritional value. It sounds ridiculous, right? Because, they're healthy. They're not unhealthy, but they have no nutritional value. They're unbioavailable. So all the nutrients that are in this broccoli here are bound to chemicals that prevent absorption. So you could even look this up. You will not absorb any of the minerals or vitamins from this broccoli or for any vegetable for that purpose. Take lettuce, for example. Lettuce has basically no nutritional value at all. It's just water and fiber. Fiber and water are healthy for you. but they can also be found in fruit. And fruit has vitamin C, vegetables don't have vitamin C. And fruit has also got none of the chemicals that prevent absorption if they're ripe. Unripe fruit also has chemicals that prevent absorption, but if you're eating ripe fruit, you're not going to get this chemicals that prevent absorption. So you've got high bioavailability, you've got vitamin C, you've got fiber and water. So fruit is absolutely healthy for us. But vegetables contain no nutritional value. It might hurt to hear this because you like your broccoli and rice and chicken meals and stuff. And that's fine. If you really want to eat vegetables, go ahead. I'm just telling you, I'm just warning you that there's nothing in a vegetable other than water and fiber for you to have. So by eating vegetables, you're not going to become healthier. You're not going to destroy your health, but you're not going to become healthier either. And finally, we have cooking oils. So basically, when you're cooking food in your oils, there are different kinds of cooking oils or cooking fats that you can use. So you've got vegetable oil and seed oils, which are the most common in most people's homes. This is what most people cook with. It's made of PUFAs, polyunsaturated fatty acids, and linoleic acid. Don't use these. Instead, what we need to do is use oils from either fruit or animal products. So what this means is you can have butter, you can have ghee. Ghee is just clarified butter, as you can see. Beef tallow, which is the fat off of a cow, of course. Lard, which is from a pig. Coconut oil, which is from a fruit, coconuts. Olive oil is from a fruit. And avocado oil, as you can see down here, is also from a fruit. And the reason we have these is because coconut oil is 94% saturated fat. In fact, I can show you, right? I've got coconut oil right here. Organic coconut oil. It is 94% saturated fatty acids, right? I don't know if you can see that well, but essentially, coconut oil has no polyunsaturated fatty acids. It is only saturated fatty acids, which is why it's so healthy. Olive oil is almost entirely made up of monounsaturated fatty acids, right? Which are also healthy. Butter is mostly saturated fatty acids. Ghee, mostly saturated fatty acids. The rest of it is just movers, right? Beef tallow, same thing. Lard, same thing. Avocado oil is almost entirely monounsaturated fatty acids, which is why it's not bad for you. If you were to have PUFAs though, you're increasing the amount of fat that you can gain. You're slowing your metabolism. You're decreasing your energy levels and you're harming your health. You're increasing your risk of cancer and cardiovascular disease. So every time that you cook with this, you're sabotaging your health and your opportunity to lose fat. You're not going to ever lose fat. You're just going to get fatter and fatter if you keep on using these things. So basically, vegetable oils and seed oils is literally everything apart from this list. This is all you can use. If you use this stuff, you are literally going to sabotage your fat loss. So finally, we have the diet plan. You're going to have lots of meat, fish, seafood, no carbs except for fruit. So it has to be a fruit. No honey either, even though honey is not bad for you. If you're trying to lose fat, having honey is just going to make it more difficult for you to burn fat. Lots of fat, which you can get from meat, fish, seafood, cheese. I forgot to put cheese here, but you have cheese, nuts, and you don't need vegetables. But if you really want it or you have to for some reason, say your mom makes food with vegetables, that's okay, right? Just understand you don't have to have vegetables. Finally, I have a full fat loss course. It's linked in the description. It has 20 lessons, 4 chapters, and 8 principles of fat loss. and it's currently on sale for 99 Australian dollars. So it has everything biological, scientific, whatever you want to call it, to do with fat loss. It literally has everything.